Trevor. This is a story about Trevor the traction engine. He was going to get broken up for scrap. But then, he met Edward, who was determined to find him and his new friend a home. Sir Topham Hatt works his engines hard, but they are very proud when he calls them really useful. I'm going to the scrapyard today, Edward called to Thomas. Already? You're not that old, replied Thomas cheekily. Thomas was only teasing. The scrapyard is full of rusty old cars and machinery. They are broken up into the pieces. Low into Edward's trucks, and Edward pulls them to the steelworks, where they are melted down to be used again. There was a surprise waiting for Edward in the yard. It was a traction engine. Hello, said Edward. You're not broken and rusty. What are you doing here? I'm Trevor, said the traction engine sadly. They're going to break me up next week. What a shame, said Edward. My driver says I only need paint, polish, and oil. Well, to be as good as new. Continued Trevor. But my master thinks I'm old-fashioned. Edward shuddered. Edward snorted. Some people call me old-fashioned, but I don't care. So Topham Hatt said I'm a useful engine. My driver says I'm useful too, said Trevor. Even if a job is hard, I don't give up. I never break down. I've never broken down in my life. What work did you do? Asked Edward. Our master would send us from farm to farm, Trevor replied. We threshed corn, hauled logs, and did lots of other work. The children loved to see us. Trevor shut his eyes, remembering. I miss the children, he sighed. Edward set off for the station. Broken up, what a shame! Broken up, what a shame, he clanged. I must help Trevor. I must. Edward thought of his friends who liked engines, but he knew none of them would have room for a traction engine at home. It's a shame, said Edward. As Edward had pulled into the station, there, standing on the platform, was the vicar. Hello, Edward. You look upset, he said. What's the matter, Charlie? He asked his driver. There's a traction engine in the scrapyard, Vicar, his driver replied. He's going to be broken up next week. Cool. He's never driven a better engine. Do save him, sir, said Edward. He's a very useful engine. He carries wood and gives children rides. We'll see, replied the vicar. Jem Cole came to the scrapyard on Saturday. The Reverend is coming to see you, Trevor, he said. Maybe he'll buy you. Do you think he will? Asked Trevor hopefully. He will when I've lit your fire and clean you up, Jem told him. The vicar and his two boys arrived that evening. Show us what you can do, Trevor, said the vicar. Trevor chuffed around the yard. He hadn't felt so happy in months. Later, the vicar came out of the office smiling. Trevor is coming home with me. Hey, Jem, he said. Do you hear that, Trevor? Cried Jem. The Reverend has saved you. You're going to live in his village cottage now. Beep, beep, whistled Trevor happily. Now Trevor's home is in the vicarage orchard, and he sees Edward every day. His paint is spotless, and his brass shone like gold. Trevor liked his work, but his happiest day was the church fair. With a wooden seat bolted to his bunker, he chuffers around the orchard, giving rides to children. Long after always, you would see him shut his eyes, remembering. I like being with the children again, he whispers happily.